Let's do this. Let's bring in our guest for the hour, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Lindsay Richards. Lindsay, thank you so much for being on with both of us. I got ahead of myself because I wanted to say to you, boy, the allegations that continue to face law enforcement in the state of Massachusetts, right? We have yet another incident where she allegedly pulls the gun on her ex-fiance. Now, the defense attorney said he's not credible. Right? He's not credible. I guess that means that she may try to allege it didn't happen. But tell us your thoughts as you hear this unfold.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts just about the initial arguments that are being made requesting exculpatory evidence. I think what this particular defense attorney is trying to get at is that he is wanting any, disciplinary history, misconduct by any of these police officers, any internal investigations that might have taken place with them. And I think he's really trying to figure out if there's any type of conspiring between the district attorney's office and these officers, or any kind of misconduct that might be taking place. And by the way that this case has been handled, from what I've seen so far, it doesn't seem like that's a huge stretch to think that there's something kind of nefarious going on, because they denied her bail based on a request to change her alcohol monitoring. So they requested that they change her alcohol monitor because she was having difficulty with it, and then they just revoked her bail and are keeping her in custody and denying her any new bond. And that's really shocking to me, to be honest.
Well, Lindsay, I want to bring it out a little big picture here. Speaking of shocking things, I was just telling Ashley here when we were watching, as I was getting read in on this case, the North Andover Police Department in 2025 does not use body cameras. That just blew my mind. I was just under the assumption that all police departments used body cameras. But because they don't use them, there's obviously a lack of recorded video evidence of what actually went down. How does that lack of visual evidence shape the defense's strategy here and, the prosecution's burden in this case?
First of all, that is mind-boggling. I cannot believe in 2025 any police department does not have body-worn camera. And if they did, right, there wouldn't be nearly the questions that we're having right now about the integrity of these police officers, because we would have video documentation of what happened. But because there isn't, it gives the defense, as it should, a complete, playground essentially to make any argument they want about how this actually went down, and, potentially misconduct by these police officers, because it's just the officer's word against hers about what happened. That is shocking.
And, Cody and I were just talking about it briefly, and the fact that I'm aware of some counties that don't do it, citing the financial responsibility of getting those and getting them working. But I would agree that that's not a good reason to not have them. I don't know why they don't have them there, but it happens sometimes. It's just not a good reason.
It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out and how they try to, construct their competing narratives when this finally goes to trial.
Yes.
But coming up, we're going to stay in Massachusetts for the...
All right, let's take an opportunity to bring in our guests, attorneys Lindsay Richards and now joining us, Krista Ramey. Thank you, ladies, for standing by.
And Lindsay, I want to touch on the prosecution here. When Fitzsimmons was initially brought in, they initially pursued this intent to murder charge, but the grand jury ultimately rejected that. So to me, the question I have is, does that rejection weaken the prosecution's overall case, or is it more of an idea of it's narrowing the focus on a more provable case?
I think that's right. I think the latter part of what you said is correct. I think most likely they kind of brought before the grand jury a more serious charge, and the grand jury ultimately said, it sounds like the evidence you have is going to be able to prove this particular charge and not necessarily an intent to kill. It also sounds to me, quite honestly, like this district attorney's office, and having been a prosecutor myself, is maybe a little behind the times in the way that they are documenting their officer-involved misconduct and allegations of misconduct. Most DA's offices at this point in 2025 keep a thorough documentation of, any allegations of untruth, any internal investigations, and that is always disclosed in every every single case. And it kind of sounds to me, and again, I don't know all their policies, but it kind of sounds like maybe they're behind a little bit in the way that they're documenting.